Your ads used to bring you in clients and you used to do it consistently, and now they're just kind of sitting there burning your budget every single day. I want you to imagine something just for a moment. Imagine waking up on Monday morning and opening your ads manager and then seeing that your cost per lead has dropped back down to where it was 18 months ago. Can you imagine your calendar filling up again with people who are genuinely ready to have a conversation with you? Imagine knowing that your ads are working quietly in the background while you're actually focusing on working and serving your clients, not wondering why your numbers in your ads manager stop making sense. That's not a fantasy though. That's exactly what happens when you fix the actual problem behind something called ad fatigue. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what can fix it and how to do it, and then what it actually looks like. And if you want my full checklist on how to do this, just drop the word fix below, and I can send this over to you in Messenger or an email if you like, and it's the framework that we use with all our clients to make this really, really super simple right now. And that's so that you can just fill in the blanks, and then you'll know exactly what your ads should be saying in 2026, in fact, in April 2026. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Tina from tinasanta.com. Now, since 2019, gosh, a long time, I've been working with online businesses and helping them to revive their cold leads. And one of my favorite things is turning underperforming ad funnels into high converting assets, and doing that without having to rebuild anything from scratch or them having to hire another agency. But the story I wanted to share with you today is one I'm seeing playing out again and again in almost every ad account we're working with who come to us right now. So I want to share with you what's actually happening when ads stop working, because most people are assuming it's their creative. So what they do is they change the image, or they film a new video and then they try different color schemes, but the results still stay flat. And so then they assume it's their targeting, and it's not. But they go and adjust the audience, and then they try new interest groups. Everyone's like raised around going, what audiences are you testing? They tinker with the budget, all these different things, tricks and tips that people are telling them to try, but still nothing moves. So if that sounds like you, listen in, okay? Because all of that time and all that money is going into fixing the wrong thing. What a waste, okay? Because ad fatigue is actually not about your audience getting bored of your face or your images. It's actually about your copy no longer answering the questions that your ideal client's actually asking themselves right now. Your audience has moved on mentally, okay? You've got to remember that. They're in a different place than they were when your ads were first written. But if your messaging stayed the same, that's where your ad fatigue is actually coming. So I want you to think about it this way. When somebody first encounters your brand, the question in their head usually is simply, who is this person and how could they help me? But a few weeks later, after they've seen your ads, like a couple of handful of times in their phone, usually, these days, the question has changed completely. Think about your own journey, yeah? Now they're asking, okay, but how will I know if this will actually work for me specifically? And then the next part of the journey, a few weeks later, the question will change again. And then that question tends to now be, what makes this different from everything else I've already tried? So you can imagine if your ads are only answering, like, let's say the first question, they become invisible to everyone who's actually moved past that question. And Facebook is watching for behavior right now. And so what happens then is it starts showing your ads to fewer and fewer people because it can see that the engagement is dropping. So then your costs go up and then your reach goes down. And then those ads that used to work, they just sit there, just spending your money and producing nothing. But now here's what fixing this actually looks like in practice. So you can message me for this if you want, or just make notes. Basically, the clients we work with who've come through this and rebuilt their ad performance all had one thing in common on the other side. They are running at least 5 different ads at the same time And each one is answering a single specific question that their ideal clients are actually asking at a different stage in their journey. And all 5 ads sit inside one single campaign, and that's how Facebook can actually learn automatically which message is resonating with which person and serve it accordingly. So what that actually looks like in real life is your cost per lead starts dropping because your ads are suddenly relevant again to the people at every stage in their journey. And with that, you'll find your calendar starts filling up with people who've been properly warmed up by the right message at the right moment as well. And then you stop feeling like you're throwing your time and money into a machine that has stopped working, because your machine's working again and you can see exactly why. One of our clients actually, after about 8 months of watching her ad performance decline, and she had tried 3 different agencies, spent a lot of money actually. She spent close to £15,000 trying to solve that problem in the wrong places. But within 6 weeks of restructuring her ads around 5 specific questions based upon her ideal audience, and then we run them inside a single campaign and tested them, her cost per lead dropped by more than half. But the best thing was her calendar went from 2 book calls a week back up to 9 is where she wanted it. She didn't need a bigger budget though, and she did not need a new offer. All she needed was her ads to answer the right questions at the right time for those people. And you could start testing whether this works for you with £5 per day per ad. You don't need to overhaul everything at once. You just need to kind of begin, okay? So if you want our exact frameworks, the same ones you used to help her to get there, you could just comment the word fix below or send me a message and I'll send them over, okay? I'll send them straight over to you this week. And then you could just fill in the blanks for your own business, your own customer journey. But then you'll know exactly what your ads need to be saying today. And I'll even chuck in how to set up the campaign as well.